Okay, so I wanted to piggyback the Richard Randolph Carr story with Roger Craig, another very important witness. I'm going to turn my... We're in a little bit different vantage point now. We're back on the ground. That second building, the one to the right of the records building, which is the limestone looking building. There's the red brick building that housed the sheriff's department. This was the courthouse annex, and you can see to the far right is the courthouse, the third building down. We're talking about the middle building here, and Roger Craig, during the assassination, who was a sheriff's deputy, was informed by his boss that he had no official duties to perform on November 22, 1963. I find that interesting in and of itself. Now, on the day the president comes to your city, you're giving police officers, law enforcement officers, a day off. Nevertheless, that's what he told him. It makes me wonder if they didn't suspect Roger Craig might be a problem, and so they just wanted him out of the way. But he didn't get out of the way. He stood in front of that building and said, well, I'm here, I might as well watch the motorcade. So he's watching the motorcade, and after the shots, he ran down Elm Street to the grassy knoll following the crowd. That's where everybody else was going. And he encountered a man behind the picket fence who stated that he was a Secret Service agent, and he produced credentials. Does that sound familiar? We've seen that several times now. So he let him go because he thought he was a Secret Service agent. We now know there were no Secret Service agents on the ground that day in Dealey Plaza. They were all in the motorcade. While he was behind, and I don't have my camera I'm not in the right spot to show you the grassy knoll, but you know where it is. It's right around the corner. He interviewed two witnesses, their husband and wife, Arnold and Barbara Rowland, moments after the shots. And according to the Rowlands, they said that there were two men on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, one of whom held a rifle with a telescopic sight. And so he comes back to this building. This is the back of the Texas School Book Depository building. This is the back. Well, let me show it to you here. So this is the back. There's a rear entrance that looks very similar to the front entrance. All of this here is new. This is the JFK Museum now, the 6th floor museum, which basically propagates the lie that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, so we don't talk about it much. But anyway, this is the rear entrance, and at that time this was the rear of the building, and there were steps leading out from this just like you saw in the front. So he comes to this building because based on his interview with the Rowlands, this is where two of the shooters were, at least one of the shooters. So he's figuring if they're in the building, they're going to come out of the building, and I'm going to be there, or maybe they've already escaped. Either way, I'm going to go up and investigate this building. So here he enters this building, and of course by this time other Dallas police are entering this building as well. And he entered through this back door along with several other sheriff's deputies and Dallas police officers, and they're going to search it. And they get to the 6th floor, and they're searching the 6th floor, and they find the gun that had been stashed behind the boxes. He was 8 feet away. Roger Craig said, I was 8 feet away from the rifle when it was discovered. Craig identified it, along with others, as a German Mauser caliber .765. Sound familiar? That's exactly what I'm forgetting his name now. The assassin behind the picket fence, Roscoe White. That's what he said he fired with. That's the gun he used. Anyway, Craig identified it as a German Mauser caliber .7.65. The captain, Will Fritz, called weapons expert Seymour Weitzman to the scene to confirm it. Make sure it's what we think it is, and he confirmed it as a German Mauser .7.65 bolt action. It had a 418-inch scope and a brown leather sling on it. So that was recorded in the evidence report, and it was signed off by several witnesses, and that became the murder weapon until all of a sudden it wasn't when they found the so-called Oswald rifle. But anyway, he confirms that that's what it was. It was a German Mauser. 15 minutes later, Craig testifies that he saw Lee Harvey Oswald walking behind the Texas School Book Depository. So that would be, there was an alley here, so that would be somewhere in this alleyway where this building now is. Anyway, he said he saw him 15 minutes later walking behind the Texas School Book Depository, and there was a car parked right there, about right where that Toyota is, and it was a light gray, light colored Nash Rambler station wagon. Sound familiar? We just heard that Richard Randolph Carr saw Mac Wallace walk down Houston Street all the way down to Record Street and get in a light colored Nash Rambler station wagon. Well, it must have circled the block, and 15 minutes later it's here picking up Lee Harvey Oswald. And Roger Craig said he saw that happen. He made a positive ID of Oswald when Oswald was arrested and was in Dallas Police Headquarters and being interrogated. Craig poked his head in and made a positive ID. This is who he was. All right, so all this leads to what? His testimony was that he had interviewed the Rollins, and the Rollins were contradicting the lone assassin narrative because they said there were 2 men in the Texas School Book Depository. And that's what got him into the Texas School Book Depository to begin with. And then Craig's testimony that he was 8 feet away and confirmed that the gun they found was a German Mauser becomes incredibly inconvenient when the Oswald rifle, which was an Italian Mannlicher Carcano, is allegedly found in his house or his garage where his wife was staying. It has to be one or the other. And of course, in the aftermath, they said they found a German Mauser. It was hours later when they switched it, and all of a sudden it became a Mannlicher Carcano to pin it on the patsy. But Roger Craig stuck to his story. No, it was a German Mauser. Thirdly, his sighting of Oswald 15 minutes after the shooting destroys their timeline. They already have him going to Oak Cliff, the other side of town, preparing to shoot J.D. Tippit. They're going to pin that shooting on him. And if he was indeed where Roger Craig said he was, here right outside this building 15 minutes after the assassination, it's impossible for him to get to 10th and Patton and Oak Cliff across town in the time that it happened and do everything that they said he did. It's just absolutely impossible. So his timing, his testimony destroys their timeline. So what happened? This is 63. Well, in the intervening years, Roger Craig would not back off his story. And every chance he got, he told these 3 facts, which continually were at odds with the narrative. In 1967, they had given him a gag order, in essence, basically said, shut up, don't talk about it no more. Well, he did. He talked about it with a reporter, and so they used that as a pretext. Sheriff's Department did to fire him. This is 1967. Same year, he's asked to testify at the Clay Shaw trial, and he does, and he survives a sniper's bullet, which grazed his head. 67's a tough year for Roger Craig. So he almost gets shot, and then he gets asked to testify in a congressional investigation, which he does, and he gets shot at again. He survives again. It's just like Rasputin. You can't kill this guy. Then, that same year, he survives when a bomb planted in his car exploded, but didn't kill him. So he's been shot at twice. He's been fired. Now he's been bombed. He's survived every time. And then later at the end of that year, he survives a terrible car accident where his car was forced off the road. Sound familiar? Lee Bowers, big black car that forced him into the concrete abutment and killed him. Same thing happened to Roger Craig. Roger Craig was a little bit luckier in that he only broke his back. That all happened in 67. In 1975, they finally got him. They shot him to death with a rifle, and of course, it was ruled a suicide. Though, according to all witnesses and his family members, he had never personally owned a rifle. That's the story of Roger Craig. His testimony in 3 different ways contradicted the narrative, the cover story, and he was just courageous enough to stick to his story. He couldn't be intimidated, he couldn't be bullied, and it cost him his life. That's Roger Craig.